Deep underground lies a completely different world, hidden from our eyes. Its secrets have continued to attract explorers and adventurers for centuries, as every descent into underground corridors can lead to a sudden, sensational discovery. In this video, I invite you to discover the most impressive and even frightening findings uncovered in tunnels and clubs. Enjoy watching. The Pyramid of Kufu, also known as the Great Pyramid of Giza, is the only one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world that has survived to this day. It was built more than 4,500 years ago and still attracts the interest of modern researchers. In 2016, a team of scientists from universities in France, Germany, Canada, Japan, and Egypt began studying the Pyramid of Kufu using non-invasive technologies, using muon cosmic ray radiography to track the level of radiation passing through the structure's walls. They discovered strange voids inside the pyramid. At the time, the scientists could not understand what they were and repeated their studies in 2023 using endoscopy. Specialists discovered a secret tunnel inside the pyramid. It is 9 meters long and more than 2 meters wide. Initially, scientists assumed that the tunnel was a secret passage leading to Khufu's tomb, which has never been found. But as it turned out, they were mistaken. The research results were published in the scientific journal Nature. According to Mustafa Waziri, head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, the corridor was probably built as a functional architectural feature to reduce the weight of the pyramid. Unfortunately, this discovery did not help scientists finally find the burial chamber of Pharaoh Khufu. Secrets of the Nazi past continue to surface decades after the end of World War II, and a recent discovery in Berlin has once again drawn attention to them. Not far from the Holocaust Memorial, construction workers preparing the area for new development discovered a hidden underground tunnel. Professional historians and archaeologists are now working at the excavation site, thoroughly examining this historical structure. The bunker's structure is a 30-meter labyrinth with ceilings 170 centimeters high. Apparently, it was a standard bomb shelter that had simply been forgotten after the war. However, this bunker is located near the very site where Adolf Hitler took his own life, which leads historians to believe the tunnel is part of a vast network of underground structures used by the Nazi leadership. It is quite possible that Hitler escaped through this corridor. Archaeological research has only just begun, and specialists hope to uncover new evidence of the Nazi past. The bunker's walls may be hiding documents, household items, or other artifacts that will help better understand the workings of the Nazi system. In 2017, Canadian researchers made an unusual discovery. Beneath the modern roads and buildings of Montreal, they managed to uncover an entire network of ancient caves. The cave complexes were first discovered by scientists Daniel Caron and Luc Leblanc. They were studying the limestone walls of a cave already known since 1812. While taking rock samples, Caron and Leblanc accidentally broke through one of the walls and discovered previously unexplored underground spaces behind it. Behind the wall, the scientists found a huge cave. It is over 200 meters long, 1 meter wide, and the tallest vaults reach 6 meters in height. Inside the cave, they found branches leading to other caves and several underground lakes up to 5 meters deep. As the study of this underground space was complicated by the presence of water, the researchers had to use an inflatable canoe. During their investigation, Caron and Leblanc found that these remarkable caves were formed during the last ice age, about 15,000 years ago. Amazingly, the caves remained completely untouched by humans all this time, despite a large modern city being built right above them. This discovery allowed scientists to peer into the distant past of our planet and study the climatic features of that era. The Saxon Palace, the ruins of which are located in Warsaw, was built into the 1660s. In the early 18th century, it served as a royal residence. The building was constantly expanded and altered. But after the failure of the Warsaw Uprising in 1944, the palace was completely destroyed by German troops. Today, Polish authorities are actively working on projects aimed at restoring this historic monument. Restoration work is expected to be fully completed by 2030. As part of the Saxon Palace reconstruction project, ongoing excavations are being conducted. In 2023, archaeologists discovered a secret tunnel at the site. It is 45 meters long and about 4 meters high. Inside the tunnel, scientists found many interesting items: old coins, jewelry, and shards of pottery. On the brick walls, researchers found the manufacturer's mark, and on the ceiling plaster, the engraved year 1933. All these artifacts and inscriptions helped scientists determine that the tunnel was built in the 1930s. At that time, the Saxon Palace was used by the Polish army and military intelligence, and the secret corridor connected the army headquarters with the military intelligence office, allowing for the fast transmission of important information and reports. A telegraph cable, heating system, and water pipes were also found in the tunnel. The discovery of the tunnel helped to better understand the military past of the Saxon Palace. This story happened in 2022 to one of the sewer service workers. Late in the evening, he went to conduct a technical inspection of one of the sections of the underground system. Upon arriving, the man armed himself with a flashlight and turned on the camera. Suddenly, his attention was drawn to strange movement ahead. In the beam of his flashlight, he saw a silhouette. A mysterious creature with glowing eyes stood still, watching the worker closely. At first, the video's author thought it was some kind of animal. However, when the creature briefly stepped out of the shadows, it became clear he was facing a real monster. Later, when the video of this incident appeared online, experts in Native American mythology identified the creature as a Skinw Walker, a mythical being capable of shape-shifting. According to ancient legends, these entities can take on the form of any living creature and possess supernatural abilities. This case sparked a lot of debate. Some people believe it is proof of the existence of parallel worlds. Others think it is evidence that ancient legends contain truths about a real world hidden from modern humans, while others are convinced the video is a fake. In 1979, a gruesome find was made in Buffalo Cave, located near the city of Dubois in the state of Idaho. Researchers searching for traces of ancient human habitation found a fragment of human remains inside the cave. The police examined the site, but found nothing to help their investigation. Almost 12 years later, in 1991, other researchers of the cave found additional mummified body parts inside, which most likely belonged to the same person. Locals dubbed the deceased the Headless Man, as his head was never found. The man's identity could not be established, nor could the cause of death. The mystery was finally solved only in 2020, thanks to modern forensic methods. Using DNA testing and genealogical analysis, scientists were finally able to identify the remains. It turned out they belonged to Joseph Henry Loveless, a criminal who had brutally murdered his own wife. In 1916, he escaped from prison. Unfortunately, despite establishing the identity of the deceased, the cause of Loveless's death could not be determined. However, most forensic experts believe that his death may have been the result of revenge by local residents for the murder of his wife. The author of this video is an artist who creates graffiti in abandoned buildings and technical tunnels. According to the man, when he once again descended into an underground corridor to continue working on his artwork, he heard strange sounds coming from one of the tunnel's branches. The artist decided to move closer and then saw an unknown creature appear from around the corner. It was hard to make out because it was hiding in the darkness and only its glowing eyes could be seen. The artist knew no one would believe the story of this encounter, so he decided to record the event on his smartphone. Surprisingly, at that moment, he saw another pair of eyes reflecting light. This meant that a whole group of mysterious creatures inhabited the tunnel. The artist told the police about the story, and the tunnel was thoroughly inspected. However, no monsters were found. For this reason, no one has been able to explain the nature of these beings. Some suggest they may be representatives of extraterrestrial civilizations or mythical creatures. At the same time, it's also possible that they were animals, but how they managed to get into the underground tunnel remains a mystery. The Paris Catacombs are one of the most mysterious and mystical places in the French capital. They represent a network of underground tunnels stretching more than 300 kilometers beneath the city. The history of this underground structure could have began as early as the 5th century AD. At that time, ancient Roman limestone quarries were located where the catacombs are now. By the 18th century, the network of underground tunnels had become so vast that a special law was required to regulate stone extraction. Paris continued to grow, and stone quarrying was completely halted. The abandoned mines began to be used for various purposes. They housed wine cellars, breweries, warehouses, and even prisons. A turning point in the catacombs' history came during the 1780 plague epidemic, when city cemeteries became overcrowded. In 1786, King Louis XVI issued a decree ordering that cemetery remains be transferred to the underground tunnels. The transfer process took almost 12 years. In total, the Paris catacombs hold the remains of more than 6 million people. Today, the Paris Catacombs are a popular tourist attraction, but not all tunnels are open to the public. Only one route, just over 1.5 kilometers long, is accessible, where visitors can see ancient tombstones and impressive compositions made from human bones. The underground corridors hold the remains of many famous figures, such as writer Charles Perrault, mathematician Blaise Pascal, and ministers Jean-Baptiste Colbert and Nicolas Fouquet. In 2003, archaeologists were conducting excavations on the Indonesian island of Flores, during which they discovered several strange human remains inside the Liangbua cave. Scientists nicknamed these hominids hobbits due to their resemblance to the dwarf-like characters in Tolkien's works. Officially, they were named Homo floresiensis. These ancient people were less than 1 meter tall. They had disproportionately large, hairy feet and a tiny skull with a brain smaller than that of a newborn baby. At the same time, the hobbits had highly developed hands and fingers, indicating their ability to perform complex tasks. In addition to the remains, stone tools and animal bones were also to be found at the site. This indicated that these hominids were skilled hunters. Moreover, traces of fire use were also discovered in the cave. Studies of the remains showed that Homo floresiensis lived on this island about 100,000 years ago. They were likely descendants of Homo erectus. How exactly these ancient people reached Flores remains a mystery. The reason for their extinction is also unknown, although it most likely occurred after the arrival of Homo sapiens in the Ercia. Interestingly, some local residents believe that the species of dwarf ancient humans is not extinct and that some of its members still hide in the dense forests of the island. In the Mexican state of Chihuahua, at a depth of about 300 meters, lies the astonishing Crystal Cave, discovered by miners in 2000. The unique feature of this place is that inside the cave are giant selenite crystals. The largest among them is 11 meters long, 4 meters wide, and weighs 55 tons. These natural formations are among the largest on Earth ever found. The crystals formed over hundreds of thousands of years due to specific extreme conditions. The cave lies above a magmatic chamber that heats the underground water to temperatures from +54 to +58 degrees Celsius. The stable high temperature of the solution and air, along with humidity exceeding 90%, created ideal conditions for the crystal's growth. Interestingly, not far from this cave is another one known as the Cave of Swords. It is located at a depth of 120 meters, and inside it, similar crystals up to 1 meter long can be found. The Cave of Swords was discovered back in 1910. Since these two unique caves are located close together, scientists began searching for other such natural wonders, and in 2009 discovered yet another crystal cave. Who knows? Perhaps in the near future, they will be able to find even more of these impressive creations of nature. Photographer Sierra Hartman has been fascinated with underground tunnels since childhood. As a teenager, he moved to live in San Francisco and discovered a whole kingdom of underground passages in this city. Each year, Hartman uncovered more and more tunnels, some of which were so secret that only a few people knew of their existence. In 2010, the photographer seriously considered a project that would allow other people to get to know the underground labyrinths of San Francisco's unique sewer system. 2 years later, he began realizing his idea, and a year after that, Hartman presented the world with a vast collection of his photographs. It may seem that there is nothing interesting or attractive about the underground world of a city's sewer system, but Hartman and his team managed to show this place from a different perspective. The photographer's project reveals the secrets of the mysterious world of underground tunnels, where concrete vaults bear traces not only of engineering thought, but also of creative expression. In these photographs, you can see astonishing graffiti in the darkness of sewer collectors left by modern artists who penetrate these places in search of inspiration and new horizons for their art. Here, you will find both simple inscriptions and complex compositions telling stories about the city, its inhabitants, and their dreams. Hartman's project proves that the underground world of San Francisco is not a dirty and frightening place, but rather a kind of museum of contemporary art. In the Edge Hill area of Liverpool lies an astonishing underground labyrinth known as the Williamson Tunnels. The history of this place began in the early 19th century when a businessman named Joseph Williamson purchased a plot of land on Mason Street. There, he started building houses with unusual architecture, while simultaneously working on the idea of creating a large network of arched tunnels. Why the businessman needed these underground structures remains a mystery. Some people believe Williamson was a member of a religious sect and hoped to survive the end of the world there. Others are convinced the tunnels weren't needed by the businessman, and he built them for a good cause, providing local poor people with an opportunity to earn money through construction. Williamson's underground corridors stretched across a large area around Mason Street, Greenfield Street, Smithdown Lane, and Paddington. All of them differ in size. The largest is just over 21 meters long, 7.5 meters wide, and 6 meters high. Since 1995, excavations and restoration work have been underway in the Williamson Tunnels. In 2002, part of the tunnels was open to visitors. Today, a heritage center operates here, where visitors can take a tour of the underground corridors and explore some of the artifacts found during the excavations. In 2020, British archaeologists began a reinvestigation of Goffs Cave, located in the Cheddar Gorge in Somerset. The cave was first discovered in 1890 by Richard Cox Goff. At that time, archaeologists found the remains of Cheddar Man, but this time researchers discovered ancient pottery over 14,000 years old. All the bowls were made from human skulls. Initially, experts assumed that these bowls were ritual objects, but bite marks found on their surfaces indicated practical use. Making such vessels was a true art. For the careful processing of the skulls, ancient people used flint scrapers and stone hammers. This is evidenced by distinctive marks left by the tools. Scientists still cannot explain why the ancient inhabitants of the region chose human skulls as the material for making bowls. Perhaps in this way they performed some burial rite or preserved the skulls of their loved ones as a memorial. According to another theory, the skulls could have belonged to their enemies, and bowls made from such bones were used as trophies. Just as humans build complex underground tunnel systems for transport and communication, animals also use underground passages for their lives. Among these animals are snakes, with the only difference being that they don't dig the burrows themselves, but use those made by others. Snakes prefer ready-made shelters left by rodents, insects, or turtles. The shape and diameter of a snake burrow depend on the animal that originally created it. Some have a perfectly round shape, while others may have irregular contours and a large diameter. Much like humans choose specific places for building underground structures, snakes are also selective when it comes to choosing their shelter. They prefer underground passages located in tall grass, under rocks, or in damp areas near bodies of water. With the help of these burrows, snakes can escape from predators and regulate their body temperature. Some snakes can be very dangerous to humans, so it's important for people to be able to distinguish snake burrows from those of rodents. The activity of reptiles in their underground shelters is especially noticeable in spring and autumn. During these times, shed snake skins and crawling tracks can be seen near the entrances. Moreover, near snake burrows, there are usually no claw marks or freshly dug earth. All these features make it easy to understand which burrows are better to avoid. In 2022 in northern China, in the Inner Mongolia. Autonomous region, archaeologists discovered the amazing ancient city of Huchengzui, which is more than 4,500 years old. According to research, the area of the city was about 1,300 square meters, and it was surrounded by 3 concentric walls, making it one of the most fortified cities of its time. This discovery became a sensational find, giving scientists the opportunity to gain unknown information about the history of ancient China. For this reason, even larger-scale excavations were launched in the area. Archaeologists found many artifacts there, and sometime later, they were shocked by another discovery. It turned out that 6 secret tunnels were hidden beneath Huchengzui, forming a complex network of underground passages. These tunnels are located at depths ranging from 1.5 to 6 meters, with heights from 1 to 1.80 meters and a width of about 1.2 meters. The tunnels are arranged in a special way. They are positioned radially from the center of the city, forming a kind of web of underground communications. These underground passages served 2 important functions. They were an ancient transportation network that allowed quick movement between different parts of the city, and they were also part of Huchengzui's defensive system. Scientists are still conducting excavations in the vicinity of Huchengzui in hopes of finding another ancient city. In the ancient Aztec city of Teotihuacan, located near the capital of Mexico, lies a unique structure almost 200 years old, the Pyramid of the Sun. In 2014, during ongoing research on the grounds of this complex, archaeologists discovered an underground tunnel connecting the Pyramid of the Sun and the Temple of the Feathered Serpent. This secret passage is located about 18 meters underground and is 138 meters long. The entrance to the tunnel is located beneath the Pyramid of the Sun. Interestingly, the direction of the tunnel coincides with the main staircase of the pyramid, creating a symbolic space where the path to the sun and the path underground represent day and night, life and death. The underground corridor is a very large-scale structure. Archaeologists have been studying it for almost 11 years. Over the years, they have found about 50,000 artifacts. Among the discoveries were statues, incense burners, precious stones and jewelry, giant seashells, animal bones, and wooden objects. Research on the tunnel continues, and scientists do not rule out the possibility that, with the help of modern technologies, they may find hidden branches of the underground corridor that could lead them to the tombs of ancient Aztec rulers. Ants are known as very hardworking and intelligent insects. In addition, they are also famous for their unique homes, anthills. An anthill is a complex system of passages and chambers, each serving an important function. At the same time, the insects constantly modernize their dwelling. Over time, the colony adds new passages or seals off those chambers that are no longer in use. The exterior of anthills can look different depending on the area where they are built, as well as the species of ants. In desert and sandy areas, ant homes feature mounds with multiple entrances, while in forests, ants reinforce entrances with pine needles and branches. Beneath the outer part lies the solar chamber, where the insects receive additional warmth. Below is a special wintering chamber, where the whole colony goes when cold weather arrives and spends time in hibernation until spring. Any anthill is equipped with a pantry chamber where food supplies are stored. At the center of many tunnels lies a very important place, the Queen's Chamber, where the matriarch spends her entire life, while ordinary ants care for her, bringing everything she needs. In addition, the anthill also includes a chamber for storing eggs and raising larvae. Ants take the construction of their home very seriously. They arrange each chamber, remove waste, eliminate unnecessary rooms, and some species even create underground spaces for tending aphids. Thanks to such an organized approach and care for their home, a large colony can thrive for many years. Unfortunately, despite the fact that selling illegal substances is punishable by law, drug traffickers still find various ways to do it. Most often, criminals use underground tunnels for these purposes as they allow them to remain unnoticed. In Mexico, a huge number of such underground corridors have been discovered and closed, but the activity cannot be fully stopped as new tunnels continue to appear. Some of these underground routes are astonishing in scale. For example, in 2020, a tunnel used for transporting illegal substances to the United States was discovered that, impressed with its total length exceeded 300 meters. Access to the underground corridor was provided by a large metal door leading to a special elevator. Inside of the tunnel was equipped with a system of mechanical carts, electricity, a drainage system, and ventilation. The size and technical equipment of this structure surprised even the authorities of both countries. Of course, the tunnel intended for criminal activity was closed, but it still didn't help the government completely solve the problem of illegal trade. We're all used to the idea that modern cities grow upwards. Many people deliberately purchase housing on the upper floors of skyscrapers, whereas some residents of China have chosen instead to live underground. In China, there have been unique underground homes called Yaoongs for over 4,000 years. These homes are carved into mountain slopes and extend underground into depths of 6 to 11 meters. The greatest number of Yaoongs can be found in Hainan province, where around 10,000 such structures still exist today. Yaoongs are long rooms carved into rock with vaulted ceilings. Modern underground homes have everything needed for living, including plumbing, electricity, and even internet. Life in Yaoongs, like in any other home, has its pros and cons. These underground dwellings protect residents from heat and cold. In addition, they are highly earthquake resistant, which is very important for life in mountainous areas. Among the downsides, residents note dealing with rodents and high humidity. Today, Yaoongs are mostly inhabited by people with low incomes and elderly residents. However, despite their homes being far from modern high-rises, they are completely satisfied with their dwellings. In one of Japan's abandoned coal mines, located a few kilometers from a suspected radiation-contaminated area, a group of specialists conducted a radiation level inspection. This mine was built during World War II and, after being closed, was accessible only to geologists and environmentalists. As the researchers began descending into a deep tunnel, they turned on a camera to record everything. Amazingly, the deeper they went, the more strangely their equipment behaved. At one point, the instruments shut down for several seconds, and after that, the researchers noticed a ghostly figure flash across the corridor. When the specialists returned, they reported also hearing male voices which sounded very distant. Some people suggested that low doses of radiation might have somehow caused hallucinations in the researchers. However, according to the eyewitnesses, radiation levels inside the mine were within normal limits. Moreover, the mysterious figure was also captured on camera. These two facts contradicted the hallucination theory. Today, the mine remains closed to the public, and inside it, the mystery of this paranormal phenomenon continues to be preserved. During a scientific investigation of a very deep cave system in the United States, researchers made a surprising discovery that cast doubt on the theory of this underground labyrinth's origin. During their deep descent, they found several ancient statues depicting naked men. It was previously believed that this cave system had never been inhabited or visited by humans. All previous research indicated that for thousands of years, access to this part of the cave had been blocked. But the discovered statues pointed to the opposite. All of these sculptures were found at great depth and crafted with astonishing detail. Scientists are currently researching this discovery. They aim to determine when the statues were created and what purpose this part of the cave served. However, it is unlikely that they will be able to identify which civilization the sculptures belong to. And that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Your engagement is the best reward for me. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.